A win is a win is a win, and the Indiana Fever without Caitlin Clark go up against the Las Vegas Aces and last year's MVP, A'ja Wilson, and walk away with a W, 80-70. Sophie Cunningham has been hot to trot. Sophie Cunningham has been on fire.
Shocking revelation rocks the WNBA as referee corruption allegations explode across social media. What you're about to hear will completely change how you view professional basketball officiating, and it involves one of the league's hottest rising stars being absolutely robbed of her moment to shine. We're talking about Sophie Cunningham, the red-hot shooter who's been torching nets all season long, allegedly getting screwed over by biased officiating that benefited the Las Vegas Aces, while simultaneously getting her teammate Lexi Hull mysteriously benched. The footage is damning. The evidence is mounting, and fans are absolutely losing their minds over what appears to be one of the most blatant cases of referee bias we've ever witnessed in professional women's basketball.
We don't rely on our offense a lot. We rely on our defense to get our when our defense is going, our offense is going. So we limited the Vegas to one shot, and that's how we got open shots for the shooters inside the paint and everything.
I know your coach was talking right after you guys got back from the break about not letting runs get out of control, keeping things, manageable. How much is defense a part of that, specifically to what you guys have dealt with this season?
Defense is very important. To be able to stop runs like that, we got to play defense. And I feel like we did a good job tonight on stopping Vegas runs. And we didn't get rattled up or anything like that. We were like, okay, they got their run. Now it's our turn to get our runs, and that's what we did.
For either of you, before the game, Coach said that it's kind of like been up and down a lot, thinking, is Caitlin going to play? Is she not going to play? And now it's just a feeling of go ahead and charge forward. How does that affect your thinking at this point? And how smoothly do you think you guys adapted to that today, that approach?
Yeah, I don't think that it affects us anymore. We put out a statement today that she's day to day, and so we know that as a team, and so that's helpful to mentally prepare. But I really do think that if we have Caitlin, great, and we know how to play with her. If we don't have Caitlin, great, we know how to play without her, and I think that's just so important. It gives people confidence that when
I want to stop it here real quick because this is great what Sophie Cunningham just said, because it's the reality of the situation. Caitlin has missed so many damn games that they finally have the place where they could play with her or play without her. At this point, I feel like they're possibly, depending on who they play against, they probably might go on a win streak, man. I got to pull up the schedule to see, but I can see them kind of getting into gear here. It's the second half of the season, guys. And, this is for all the marbles, man. I still believe they got a chance to be a championship caliber team. They just got to get their act together.
she is back, they know their role. And then when she's not, they have the confidence to come out there and make big plays for us. And so for us, I don't really think it's something that we think about anymore. For us, it's taken one day at a time, stacking the days. And tonight, I think we did a really good job, not only physically, but seriously mentally, because we have been struggling and inconsistent when they go on runs, and we stopped it. And then we went on our runs. And so that's a big step for us. And I just said it, but it's all about.
But before we dive into this explosive controversy that has the entire WNBA community up in arms, let me paint you the full picture of just how insane this situation really is. Sophie Cunningham has been absolutely unstoppable lately. We're talking about a player who transformed from a role player into a legitimate 6th player of the year, candidate practically overnight. This woman has been shooting an astronomical 58.1% from three-point range over her last 6 games, making her the hottest shooter in the entire league during the month of July. She's been dropping 3-pointers like they're layups, averaging 13.7 points and 4.7 rebounds per contest, while knocking down 3 triples a night. Basketball analysts have been calling her an absolute assassin for her clutch shooting ability. And honestly, who else even comes close to her level of consistent performance off the bench? The Indiana Fever have been riding Sophie's incredible hot streak all season long, with her reaching double figures in 6 straight games leading up to this controversial matchup. Coach Stephanie White specifically moved Cunningham into the starting lineup to leverage her energy and versatility, praising her ability to stretch the floor, rebound defensively, and facilitate on offense. White called her another ball handler and shot creator, basically acknowledging that Sophie had evolved from being a complementary piece to becoming one of the most feared shooters in the league. Some fans have even been saying that haters need to apologize to Sophie Cunningham for doubting her abilities, because her consistency and clutch gene have become the perfect complement to the team's championship aspirations. Now here's where things get absolutely wild and frankly disgusting. During what should have been another showcase performance for Sophie's red-hot shooting, multiple fans and basketball analysts started noticing some seriously questionable officiating patterns that seemed to specifically target the Fever while giving the Aces every possible advantage. We're talking about phantom fouls being called on Sophie when she was getting into her shooting rhythm, suspicious non-calls when Aces players were clearly committing violations, and what appeared to be a coordinated effort to disrupt Indiana's offensive flow whenever Cunningham started heating up from beyond the arc. The most shocking part: social media exploded with frame-by-frame breakdowns showing referee positioning and call patterns that suggested something far more sinister than simple human error. Basketball Twitter went absolutely nuclear when slow-motion replays revealed what looked like deliberate attempts to kill Sophie's momentum whenever she started getting into her zone. One particularly damning sequence showed Cunningham getting fouled on a clear three-point attempt, contact that should have resulted in 3 free throws. But the referee somehow managed to miss the most obvious call of the night, while simultaneously calling a ticky-tack foul on the other end that sent Aces players to the line. But wait, it gets even more outrageous. In the middle of all this suspicious officiating targeting Sophie, her teammate Lexi Hull, who had been playing solid minutes and contributing meaningful production, suddenly found herself glued to the bench for extended periods without any clear explanation. Hull, who had been developing great chemistry with Cunningham and helping create the spacing needed for Sophie's three-point barrage, was mysteriously pulled from the rotation just as the Fever were building offensive momentum. Fans immediately started connecting the dots, realizing that Hull's benching coincided perfectly with the questionable officiating that was disrupting Sophie's rhythm. The conspiracy theories started flying faster than Sophie's three-pointers. Social media detectives began analyzing referee assignments.
Yes.
What is it about her, I guess, at the start of a game that you like having her in the lineup?
Another ball handler, another player who can create shots for her teammates, as well as stretch the floor. A really good defensive rebounder as well. We had at times really struggled from a defensive rebounding standpoint, so like that as well. And her energy.
Looking into potential connections between the officiating crew and Las Vegas interests, and documenting every single questionable call throughout the game. The evidence they uncovered was absolutely mind-blowing. Pattern recognition experts on Twitter started posting statistical breakdowns showing how certain referees had historically favored specific teams in crucial playoff positioning games, and guess what? The numbers were not looking good for maintaining any faith in unbiased officiating. Here's what makes this situation even more infuriating for Indiana Fever fans who have been watching Sophie's incredible transformation all season long. This woman has been putting in work to become a legitimate weapon for her team. She went from being just another shooter to becoming someone that opposing teams have to game plan specifically around. The pressure on her has been different lately because teams are starting to focus their defensive schemes on stopping her hot shooting, yet she's still been delivering clutch shots when her team needs them most. These weren't garbage time threes either. Sophie has been hitting daggers in crucial moments when games are hanging in the balance. The timing of this alleged referee corruption couldn't be worse for the Fever's playoff aspirations. Indiana has been fighting tooth and nail for playoff positioning, with every single game carrying massive implications for their postseason hopes. Sophie's consistent scoring and impact off the bench have been crucial components of their success, and having that disrupted by questionable officiating in a game against a direct playoff competitor like Las Vegas feels like an absolute gut punch to fans who have been supporting this team's championship dreams. What makes this controversy even more explosive is the context of where the Fever currently stand in the league hierarchy. Their recent success has been built around players like Sophie stepping up in massive ways, proving that this team has multiple weapons capable of taking over games. Cunningham's emergence as a legitimate 6th Player of the Year candidate has given Indiana a scoring threat that nobody saw coming at the beginning of the season. When you combine her shooting with Kelsey Mitchell's leadership and the team's defensive identity, they've created something special that goes far beyond depending on any single superstar. The allegations against the officiating crew have sparked broader conversations about referee accountability in professional basketball. Fans are demanding transparency in referee assignments, questioning whether adequate oversight exists to prevent potential bias, and calling for immediate investigations into the suspicious patterns that multiple observers documented during this game. The WNBA's integrity is being called into question, with supporters arguing that if these allegations have any merit, it represents a betrayal of everything the league claims to stand for regarding fair competition and athletic excellence. Basketball purists are particularly outraged because Sophie Cunningham represents everything great about the WNBA's evolution. Her transformation from role player to legitimate star has been one of the most compelling storylines of the entire season. Watching her develop the confidence to take and make clutch shots in pressure situations has been absolutely beautiful for fans who appreciate pure basketball talent. Having that potentially undermined by corrupt officiating feels like a slap in the face to everyone who has been celebrating her incredible journey. The social media reaction has been absolutely insane, with hashtag Justice for Sophie trending nationwide as fans share video evidence of the questionable calls and demand answers from league officials. Former players, current analysts, and basketball journalists have all weighed in on the controversy, with many expressing serious concerns about the patterns they're seeing in the footage. The consensus seems to be that even if this was simply poor officiating rather than outright corruption, the impact on the game's outcome and playoff implications makes it completely unacceptable. Moving forward, this controversy has created massive implications for how fans view officiating in crucial WNBA games. The Fever's playoff positioning could be directly affected by the outcome of games where questionable calls potentially altered results. Sophie Cunningham's individual accolades and Sixth Player of the Year candidacy could also suffer if these officiating issues continue to disrupt her ability to showcase her incredible shooting talents in high-pressure situations. The bottom line is this: Sophie Cunningham has worked too hard and performed too brilliantly to have her success potentially undermined by referee bias or corruption. Her shooting percentages, clutch performances, and overall impact on Indiana's championship aspirations deserve to be celebrated and protected by fair officiating. If these allegations prove to have merit, the WNBA must take immediate action to ensure that players like Sophie can compete on a level playing field where their talents determine outcomes, not questionable referee decisions that favor certain teams or disrupt others' offensive rhythm. This story is far from over, and basketball fans everywhere will be watching closely to see how the league responds to these serious allegations that threaten the integrity of professional women's basketball.